Loki is a story about growth, sacrifice, and earning your place. After countless trials, Loki becomes the god of stories, choosing eternal solitude to hold the multiverse together for his friends. It teaches us that actions have consequences and that no one is above them. Except Sylvie. An entitled woman child that never grows as a character, blames everyone around her, and never admits her mistakes, even though she has plenty. She's what dragged down what could have been Marvel's best story, and no, I'm not exaggerating. The show had tension, it had purpose, meaning, it even had a great ending, but one that was stained by a selfish, stagnant character that made no sense. Yeah, I know I'm late to this, but I just finished Loki and I've got a few things to rip into. The Loki TV series ran from 2021 to 2023, ending with Season 2's finale, where Loki becomes the god of stories, finally claiming his glorious purpose and throne as the overseer of the entire multiverse. He sustains every timeline thread with his magic and willpower alone for all eternity. He makes the most selfless sacrifice after endless trial and error, growing immensely as a character. Honestly, I believe he has the greatest character arc in all of Marvel next to Tony Stark. The show has a plethora of endearing characters too. Marvel managed to give us a strong woman character that is likable, like B-15, someone who's compassionate, professional, and mindful of her surroundings. I honestly would have preferred if she got more screen time than other characters, which is the main reason I make this video. But even without Sylvie, the show isn't flawless. For example, Loki is able to manipulate the multiverse with his magic, but he can't stop a single planet from crashing down when he and Sylvie were in Lamenti. He can't stop Alioth, and even after learning how to time slip, he still can't stop Sylvie from doing the dumbest decision of her life. All he does is try to talk her out of it, which she clearly does not respond to. And despite fighting her dozens, maybe hundreds of times in a loop to stop her from killing He Who Remains, he still can't subdue her, despite having dozens of hours of combat experience against her. And there's also their romantic connection, which is supposedly powerful enough to create a Nexus event, only to never get explored again. That too gets swept under the rug. And yet, all these flaws are still minor in comparison to the real issue. Just before Loki chooses to become the god of stories, he has a talk with past Mobius. They talk about making hard decisions for the greater good. Mobius tells him, you can choose whatever you want to do, but you have to live with it for the rest of your life. Live with the consequences of your actions. So Loki, being now the biggest person in this series, decides the only way to keep everyone safe is to make the ultimate sacrifice. He becomes their god in solitude, despite being terrified of being alone. He walks side by side with his demons, and he earns that throne he had always desired. And now let's talk about the main issue, which is Sylvie, but more than that, how Sylvie was handled throughout. In Season 1, she was rather an understandable character. Of course, you'd want to kill the one responsible for making you live through apocalypses ever since you're a child. I understand that, and to be honest, I liked her character back then. I understood it. But here's what I don't understand. Sylvie is shown to be impulsive and indecisive, and mostly choosing her own comfort over other people's safety. It's clear, you see that. But what the show does not do is give her consequences of her actions. Everything is solved by other people. She never has to face her own demons and never has to own to any of her mistakes. Even at the literal end of time, where the one place she found comfort in, the McDonald's she loved so much, is reduced to nothing, she still hard-headedly insists to Loki that she wasn't wrong for killing He Who Remains. This, despite the fact that He Who Remains literally offered the two of them peace, offered them his throne. And she killed him anyway, not out of strategy, but purely to satisfy her need for revenge, which is understandable, sure, again, her past was hell, but the show never frames that choice as a mistake, even though it clearly was. For some reason, she gets special treatment, while everyone else has to suffer the consequences of her reckless, thoughtless decision. It was obvious the show tried to justify her and paint her in as positive a light as possible, but it just felt weak, narratively and figuratively. The only real takeaway I got from all of this is that revenge is totally fine if you're Sylvie. And this is especially reinforced at the ending, where after Loki makes the ultimate sacrifice, she's shown to be completely burden-free, able to go anywhere, any when, no strings attached, without a care in the world, no longer hunted by the TVA, free to do whatever she wants. I didn't care that she was a shitty character. I cared that the show elevated her for absolutely no reason, especially when she didn't earn a bit of it. Loki sits alone at the end of time, holding together infinite timelines, when honestly he could have just subdued Sylvie and be done with it. This show is a 7 in terms of story, I loved it, but if Sylvie wasn't there, it would have been a 10, just like Loki's life. Thanks for watching, and have a pleasant day.